Hello crafty friends, today I'm going to show you how to create this snippet strip to embellish and add interest to your junk journal pages. For this snippet strip, because I don't have a journal that I'm sort of specifically making it for, I'm going to stick to a vintage color like the browns and tans and coffee stains with a bit of turquoise. It's like my favorite color combination. And the kinds of things that I'd collect before I make the snippet strip, I'll just go through some of them. So I've got a piece of cheesecloth. I always love adding this because it adds great texture. I have a piece of lace. I have a small piece of ribbon with some script printed on it. Look, we're not probably going to use all of this, but just gather all your supplies, and then as you're creating your snippet strip, you can also create more than one. You can create them in like a mass make. So collect more than you'll probably need and just see what looks best. These are just little offcuts from another project that I had with the scribbles. It's got a bit of the gold leaf, which I like. We have some number stickers and some letters. These are just stickers that I think will go well. A piece of paper from a book. Some cardstock that's got holes punched in. I love using this. I use it a lot in my art journaling, and I also like to use it in other projects. I think it just great makes like a point of difference. And then any kind of cardstock that you have that suits your theme. I've just collected some turquoise and some neutral colors, just any offcuts that you have. It's a great way to use up your scraps. And then I have a piece of, this is a book page that I sort of used to dab up inks from a previous project. I think that'll work well because the colors come through really nicely. A piece of sheet music with some white splatter on. Just a piece of coffee stained paper. This is from an old dress pattern. Then I have some fabric. I just have a piece of calico and just some white cotton. I love the fraying bits. I think it adds lots of interest, so we might use that. I have an old piece of doilies. I've used it, cut it up for something else, but you can definitely use a piece of this. This paper doily is from Taperlogy. I will put a link to that in the description below, along with any other items that I've used that I have links for. Then I have just a piece of like a very thin lace, a piece of Hessian string, and this is a beautiful textured paper. It's like a homemade paper, but it has like a design on. Also from Taperlogy. That'll look great. Just a piece of printed like a coffee stained paper. Then these are printables from the Digital Collage Club. And I thought you could use something like this. If you've got the turquoise that you want, you can tear it up and just use little bits with the flowers in to add interest to the little bits that you're going to add on your snippet strip. And then also from Digital Collage Club is some numbers. I want to add maybe a number in that. Just cut it out and add it in. And then these are just printables from Pinterest, just free vintage printables. I love the old typewriter type of inky print there. We might use a piece of that, or even just like a handwritten, like any section of this would work well and add some interest. And there's another one. It's like an old invoice or some kind of a receipt. We could add a section of that text. And then if you're using a digital print that you've printed and the majority of your journal is made of that, I normally like to incorporate bits of that also into the snippet strip, because like I said, I like it all to connect and sort of be all not matchy, like matchy, but I like the colors and the ideas to flow through. So if I've got a page that looks like this in my journal, I might take a section of this and put it in the snippet strip so it sort of connects and becomes one. This beautiful one is one of my favorites from Nectar's Creations. It's called September Chic. I have made a couple of journals with this before. I just had a few pieces left over, so I thought I would just show you. But if you're using a kit, you can add little elements of it, even if you're using the pinks. Maybe cut out that flower and add it to your snippet strip. So those are the kinds of things that I will add. And I'm just going to show you how I quickly create it. There's no right and wrong way to create these. You can make them any way you like. This is the way I make them. There's lots of other YouTube tutorials that show you different ways. Just find the way that suits you best and just have fun with it. So to start, I'm just going to show you, this is the journal I'm going to be decorating. It's just a really plain journal that I've made that I'm going to make like a series of videos on decorating your journal. The first being this lot of snippet strips. So what I'm going to do is, for example, if I'm going to be adding the snippet strip to this page, I'm just going to measure a piece of cardstock. It doesn't have to be cut straight, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just going to cut a strip. This is sort of going to be the backing part of the snippet strip. You don't have to use this, but I just find it easier to run it under the sewing machine because I do my snippet strips with the sewing machine. We're just going to tear a piece roughly the length of the page you're going to use. It's okay if it's slightly shorter because the bits we're going to put are going to overlap at the top. So that's the piece that's going to be part of our snippet strip. So we'll put that to the side, and then we're going to just start collecting little bits that are going to fill up the strip. Normally I just like to tear things. I don't like neat edges. So just start tearing your little bits and just see how you're going to add everything. You can add as little or as much as you like. I normally tend to put the cheesecloth sort of near the top somewhere. Let's just add, doesn't matter if some edges are straight. That looks great there. Now a piece of this doily, which I really like. That can stick out somewhere. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep adding my little bits until I have a snippet strip that I'm happy with. Now it doesn't all have to be perfect and perfectly placed because we're going to move it to the sewing machine, and as I'm sewing I'm going to feed each piece underneath. If you don't feel confident in doing that, you can run some glue down the little strip we've created and then place all your elements on top so they're secure before you stitch, but I prefer just to do it as I go. So I'm just going to move this over to the sewing machine and show you how I put it together. So to start, we're just going to use a running stitch. I'm just using an off-white thread for this, just a running stitch. And I've got my little snippet strip here. I've just pulled all the pieces off. I just have my little strip. I'm going to start that underneath the sewing machine with my first little piece. I'm going to slightly overlap it at the top so it hangs over the page a little bit. And we're going to start stitching. Just nice and slow, just to get the first piece down. And then as we're going, I'm going to leave the needle in, lift the foot, and put the next piece there. And stitch a bit more. And just keep doing that, and I add my pieces as I go. Sometimes I adjust them, sometimes I add a little bit more. We'll put the piece of ribbon. We'll put the number 8 right at the end. Just keep adding your little pieces. You can of course cut these perfectly shaped if you prefer them like that. I like mine all different shapes and sizes. The fabric you don't have to leave just flat. You can sort of give it a bit of a fold or a kink or a ruffle. Just try and add interest to your snippet strip. So it's got the bit of gold on, which I really like. Whoops. My holy piece. Love that. And then I'm going to run over a second time, just in certain areas, and I'm going to add my number and a piece of the cheesecloth. I like to leave all the threads loose and hanging. You can trim them off if you prefer, but I like mine with hanging all over the place. And then this we're just going to fold over and half tuck under there. I'll just take you back to my craft table to show you a better view of this. So here we go, here's the snippet strip. Like I said, very simple and easy to do, but very effective. I quite like the way they turned out. I've balanced the turquoise out sort of throughout the piece. And now to attach it to your journal, you can either use a hot glue gun. I'm going to use a piece of double-sided tape. I'm just going to open it to the page that we want. It's going to go just there. And then just using a piece of double-sided tape. You could also use craft glue, anything you have really, any kind of adhesive that you're going to normally use through your project. Try and leave all the threads loose and about. And press it down, and there you have your snippet strip edge. And then what you could do if you want to add a little bit more interest, I have these beautiful dies. They're from Coco Rosa Studio. I'll put a link to their website below, and I'm going to do a probably the smaller one. I'm just going to break that off. And then in a contrasting cardstock color, I'm going to cut this one out and add it as a focal point. So I've created my little black die cut, and I'm going to stick it over there. I'm just going to use a little bit of clear craft glue. You don't have to put every piece of leaf. Some of them can flap up, Makes it a bit more three-dimensional. Just a few drops here and there. And I think that adds some additional interest. And there you go. A great way to add embellishments to your junk journal page and incorporate the colors throughout your journal onto the page. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It was really quick, but I think it's super fun and super easy. A great way to use up your scraps. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you were inspired to create your own snippet strips. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.